While everyone else was building temples and praying to the heavens for answers, ancient China was doing something totally different. They built the world's most powerful empire on something you'd never expect. Most great civilizations had one thing in common. Religion ran everything. Egypt had their pharaohs as living gods. Europe had the Catholic Church controlling kings and peasants alike. The Islamic world had the Quran guiding every decision. But China? China looked at all this and said, we're going a different route. No Bible, no Quran, no Torah. So how did they pull this off? For example, you're an emperor, sitting on a throne trying to control millions of people spread across thousands of miles. In ancient times, there were no phones, no internet, no way to quickly communicate with everyone. Most people couldn't even read. So how do you make sure your officials aren't stealing from you? How do you make sure people follow the laws? How do you create a sense of right and wrong that everyone agrees on? Europe's answer was simple. God is watching you. Break the rules and you'll burn in hell forever. The church backed up the king backed up the church, and everyone stayed in line because nobody wanted to spend eternity in flames. It worked. Fear of the afterlife kept things running. The Middle East had a similar setup. The Quran wasn't just a religious book, it was a legal system, a moral guide, and a political rulebook all rolled into one. You didn't need to wonder what was right or wrong, because the text told you exactly what to do in almost every situation. China took one look at this approach and went in a completely different direction. They decided morality and order shouldn't come from gods or religious texts. Instead, they created order through education and exams. Yeah, you heard that right. Exams. The same thing that stresses out students today became the foundation of Chinese civilization. Let's go back to around 600 CE during the Sui dynasty. China was a mess. Different regions were constantly fighting each other. Local warlords did whatever they wanted, and the emperor's power was more like a suggestion than actual control. The empire needed a way to bring everyone together under one system. Now, before this time, if you wanted a government job in China, it was all about who you knew. If your dad was wealthy, or your family had connections, you were set. You'd get a cushy position, regardless of whether you actually knew anything. This meant a lot of incompetent people were running things, which is never good when you're trying to hold an empire together. But someone had a wild idea. What if instead of giving jobs to people based on their family name or how much money they had, you gave jobs based on actual knowledge and skill? What if anyone, even a poor farmer's son, could become a top government official if they were smart enough and studied hard enough? This idea didn't come out of nowhere. About 500 years before Jesus Christ, a philosopher named Confucius had planted the seeds. Confucius believed that anyone could become a moral, superior person through education and self-improvement. Confucius said that good government wasn't about divine right or military strength. It was about having wise, educated, moral leaders who understood how society should work. Fast forward to the Sui dynasty, and the emperor decided to take Confucius's philosophy and turn it into an actual system. They created the Imperial Examination system, and it changed everything. If you wanted to become a government official, you had to pass a series of tests. These weren't easy tests either. We're talking about exams that took years of studying to prepare for, covered thousands of pages of classical texts, and had a pass rate of only about 5%. By the way, there's an entire video dedicated to this exam innovation on the channel. You should check it out for more in-depth details. So what were they testing? Mainly, your knowledge of Confucian classics. The 4 books and 5 classics became the core curriculum. These texts taught philosophy, history, poetry, proper social behavior, and how to run a government. You had to memorize massive amounts of text, understand complex philosophical arguments, and be able to write beautiful, structured essays analyzing these ideas. During the Ming Dynasty, from 1368 to 1644, they even created a specific essay format called the 8-legged essay. This thing had to follow exact rules. 8 distinct sections, specific word counts, particular sentence structures, and you had to write in the voice of Confucius or his disciples. The The topics always